My Weirder School, Book Number 8, Dr. Nicholas is Ridiculous. Written by Dan Gutman. Pictures by Jim Pelot. Chapter 7, The Truth About Dr. Nicholas. We have lunch in the vomitorium. It used to be called the cafetorium until some kid threw up in there last year. It was gross. I sat with the guys and Alexia. Then Andrea and Emily came over, and we had to squeeze together to make room for them. Michael had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Alexia had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Neil, the nude kid, had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Just about everybody had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Everybody except me. I had a piece of cake. I held it up for everybody to see. Now this is a piece of cake, I told them. Naturally, we all started talking about Dr. Nicholas and how weird she was. If she's a real doctor, I said, she should cure sick people. That's what doctors do. Maybe she cured sick people in history, said Neil. She's the weirdest history teacher in history, Ryan said. Yeah, Michael said. I bet nobody else teaches the history of toilet bowls and Barbie dolls. Maybe she's not a real history teacher at all, I said. Did you ever think about that? What do you mean, AJ? Asked Alexia. Well, maybe Dr. Nicholas kidnapped a real history teacher, I said. Old ladies don't kidnap people, Neil said. Old ladies don't jump rope either, I told him. Dr. Nicholas probably kidnapped a real history teacher and sent her back in time with a time machine. Stop trying to scare Emily, said Andrea. I'm scared, said Emily. Yeah, right now, a real history teacher is probably being tortured in a castle during the 13th century. Stuff like that happens all the time, you know. We've got to do something, shouted Emily, and then she went running out of the vomitorium. I slapped my head. Sheesh, get a grip. That girl will fall for anything. After Emily left, Andrea was sitting there with her worried face on. What's the matter with you? I asked. Did you lose your encyclopedia? No, I'm worried about our school, Andrea told me. In just 2 days, we have to take that test again. Mr. Klett said the school will close if we don't do better. But we're not going to do very well if we only learn about the history of toilet bowls and Barbie dolls. I realized Andrea was right for once in her life. Learning about the history of toilet bowls and Barbie dolls was cool, but it wouldn't help us on the test. And if we failed again, elementary school would be shut down forever. Then we'd have to go to Dirk School, which is a school for dorks on the other side of town. What are we going to do? Asked Alexia. Beats me, said Neil the nude kid. Neil looked at me. I looked at Ryan. Ryan looked at Michael. Michael looked at Andrea. Andrea looked at Neil. Everybody was looking at each other. We were in trouble. Chapter 8. The Study Buddies. We should form a study group. I couldn't believe those words actually came out of my mouth. But it made sense. We all knew what was going to be on the test. If we learned the answers together, we'd get them all right, and we could save our school. Let's have the study group at my house after school this afternoon, said Andrea. We can call ourselves the Study Buddies. One time I had to put on a jacket and tie and go to Andrea's house for her birthday party. I was so bored that I started throwing snails into the garbage can and hit Emily in the head with one. But I agreed to go over to Andrea's house again to save our school. Mom, I said when I got home, can you drive me over to Andrea's house? What? My mother shouted. You always say you don't like Andrea. Why do you want to go over to her house? We're having a study group. What? My mom rushed over and put her hand on my forehead. Moms are always putting their hands on your forehead. Nobody knows why. Are you feeling okay, AJ? You always say you hate studying. Maybe you're coming down with something. You need to rest in bed. No, I told her. I need to get to Andrea's house right away. It's very important. My mom drove me over to Andrea's house. Hi, Arlo, Andrea said when she opened the door. You're the first one here. Come on in. Let's go to my room. My mom went to the kitchen to make chit-chat with Andrea's mom. Andrea took me upstairs to her room. It was the weirdest place in the history of the world. There were books and encyclopedias and Barbies and all kinds of pink stuff everywhere. I thought I was gonna die. Luckily, the doorbell rang. It was Ryan and Michael. Andrea and I ran downstairs to let them in. Ooh, Ryan said. AJ got to Andrea's house first. They must be in love. When are you two study buddies gonna get married? Asked Michael. If those guys weren't my best friends, I would hate them. Soon the others showed up, and we went to Andrea's basement. And you'll never believe in 1,100 years what was down there. A classroom. There was a big whiteboard on the wall, and desks, and encyclopedias, posters, and a computer. There was even a flag, so Andrea could pledge the allegiance at home. Who has a classroom in their basement? What is Andrea's problem? We all took seats. Andrea went up to the whiteboard and wrote, "History is fun" on it. I'd like to call this meeting of the Study Buddies to order, she said. Who can tell me the name of the first president? Wait a minute, I shouted. You're not a teacher. But I know all the answers for the test, Arlo, Andrea said. Do you? Sure I do, I told her. Oh yeah? Andrea said. Who was the first president? Abraham Lincoln, I said. So na-na-na-boo-boo on you. Everybody laughed, even though I didn't say anything funny. It was George Washington, dumbhead, Neil whispered to me. I knew that, I lied. Bummer in the summer. I wanted to go to Antarctica and live with the penguins. We went over all the questions that were on the test, and I found out that I got a few of them wrong the first time. I learned that we fought England in the Revolutionary War, not the Galactic Empire. I learned that if the president dies, the vice president becomes president, not Chuck Norris. I learned that Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, not Bob light bulb. After 1,100,000 hours of studying, you'll never believe who poked her head into the basement door. Nobody. If you poked your head into a door, it would hurt. But you'll never believe who poked her head into the doorway. It was Andrea's mom. She looks just like Andrea, but with wrinkles. She was with my mom, and they had a big plate full of chocolate chip cookies. You kids are working very hard, Andrea's mom told us. You could be home playing video games and having fun, but here you are learning about history. I'm so proud of you, said my mom. She was just about to cry, so I was allowed to eat 5 cookies. Soon, the other parents showed up to take everybody home. We had learned all kinds of history stuff that we didn't know before. I was ready to kick butt on the big test.